Here's a question I want you to sit with for a moment. Have you ever opened a new tool, stared at the blank screen, and thought, okay, but what do I actually do with this? Because that feeling is so common, and it's not your fault. Most AI tools get introduced with flashy demos that feel impressive but weirdly disconnected from your real life. You walk away thinking, great, but I still don't know how to use this for me. That's exactly what we're fixing today. This lesson is your first real build with Claude. No coding. No technical background required. By the end of this video, you are going to have created something genuinely useful, something you can actually go back to and use this week. Not a toy. Not a demo. A real thing. So let's talk about what building with Claude actually means, because it's probably not what you're picturing. When most people hear the word build, they think software. They think code, databases, apps. That's not what we're doing here. Building with Claude means creating a reliable, repeatable process, a set of instructions you give Claude so that every time you come back, it behaves exactly the way you want it to. Think of it like training a very capable assistant. The first conversation you have is where you teach them how you like things done. After that, they just do it. Here's why this matters so much for a beginner. The single biggest mistake people make with Claude, and with AI tools in general, is treating every conversation like a one-off request. They type something vague, get an okay result, shrug, and move on. They never actually build anything. They never create something they can rely on. And so the tool never becomes a real part of their life. Today we're going to break that pattern. Let's start with something concrete. I want you to think about one task in your life that you repeat regularly and that you don't love doing. Maybe it's writing a weekly update email for your team. Maybe it's summarizing your notes after a meeting. Maybe it's drafting messages to a client that always take you way longer than they should. Got one? Good. Hold on to it. That's what we're building today. The foundation of any build with Claude is what I call a clear role and a clear job. You're going to tell Claude two things right at the start of your conversation. First, what role you want it to play. Second, exactly what job you need done. This is different from just asking a question. You're not just saying, write me an email. You're saying, you are a professional communications assistant. Your job is to help me write clear, warm, concise emails to my clients. Here's the context you need to know. See how different that feels? You're setting the stage. Let's try a real example. Say you want Claude to help you write your weekly team update every Monday morning. Here's how you'd open that first conversation. You'd write something like, I want you to act as my writing assistant for internal team updates. My updates should always be clear, friendly, and brief, no longer than 2 short paragraphs. My team is a small marketing group of about 6 people. Each week I'll give you 3 or 4 bullet points about what happened, and you'll turn them into a polished update I can send. Can you confirm you understand, and then I'll give you this week's bullets? That's it. That's your build. Try this right now, open Claude, and write something that follows that structure for your own repeated task. Now here's what's going to happen when you do this. Claude is going to respond, confirm the instructions, and probably be ready to go immediately. And the first result might be really good. Or it might be close but not quite right. Both of those outcomes are fine. Because this is where the second part of building comes in, refining. Refining means you respond to what Claude gives you and you push it a little. You don't throw away the whole thing and start over. You say, this is good, but can you make the tone a little less formal? Or, can you shorten the second paragraph? Or, I actually want to start every update with a 1-sentence win from the week, can you add that? Every note you give Claude sharpens the output. And here's something important, Claude holds the context of your conversation. So as you refine, it remembers everything you've already told it. You don't have to repeat yourself from scratch each time. This is the part that beginners often skip, and it's the most valuable part. Don't accept the first draft as the final answer unless it's genuinely perfect. Treat Claude like a collaborator, not a vending machine. You put in a request, you get something back, you respond to it, and together you get closer to exactly what you want. That back and forth is where the real value lives. Let's try another build, something a little different, so you can see how flexible this approach is. Let's say you take a lot of notes, in meetings, from podcasts, from books you're reading, and they tend to pile up without much organization. You want Claude to help you make sense of them. Here's how you'd set that up. You'd say, I'm going to paste in raw notes from my week. They'll be messy and unorganized, that's fine. Your job is to pull out the 3 to 5 most important ideas, write a 1-sentence summary for each, and flag anything that looks like an action item I should follow up on. Please use plain language and keep everything short. Then you paste in your notes and let it go. What you just built is a personal note processing system. No app. No subscription to some fancy tool. Just a clear set of instructions and Claude's ability to read and organize text. You can come back to that exact setup every week. You can even copy those instructions somewhere, a note on your phone, a sticky note on your desk, so you always know how to start that conversation again. Here's a third example, because I want you to see that this works across completely different areas of life. Let's say you're a parent helping your kid study for a test, but you don't always have time to make flashcards or come up with practice questions. You could build a simple study helper in Claude. You'd say, I'm going to give you a block of text from my child's school notes. Please turn it into 10 practice questions with answers, written simply so an 11-year-old can understand them. That's a build. It takes 30 seconds to set up, and you can use it over and over. Now I want to talk about one thing that trips people up early on, because I want you to avoid it. Sometimes you'll give Claude a set of instructions and the result will feel off, too long, too formal, not quite the right focus. The temptation is to think you did something wrong, or that Claude isn't working for you. But almost always, the fix is just being more specific. If the emails feel too stiff, say, more conversational. If the summaries are too long, say, cut this in half. If the tone feels wrong, describe the tone you want. I want this to sound like a thoughtful friend, not a corporate memo. Claude responds really well to specific, honest feedback. The more clearly you describe the gap between what you got and what you wanted, the faster you'll close it. One more practical tip before we wrap up. Once you've had a great conversation with Claude, once you've refined it and landed on something that really works, take a moment to copy your original instructions somewhere. A notes app, a document, anywhere. Because in a future session, you can paste those instructions right back in at the start of the conversation and pick up right where you left off. You've basically saved your build. It's yours now. So let's recap the key things you learned today. First, building with Claude means creating clear, repeatable instructions, not writing code. Second, always open with a role and a job. Tell Claude what kind of assistant it's being and exactly what you need. Third, the first result is a starting point, not the final answer. Refine it, give feedback, and get closer to what you actually want. Fourth, once you've built something that works, save those instructions so you can reuse them anytime. And fifth, specificity is your superpower. The more precisely you describe what you want, the better Claude performs. You now have a real framework for building things with Claude that actually fit your life. That weekly email, those meeting notes, those study questions, all of it is within reach, starting today. If you want to keep going, we have a full structured course at ClaudeAIClass.com/course. It walks you through all of this step by step, with more examples, more practice, and a community of people learning right alongside you. Come join us there. I'll see you in the next lesson.